this is a face you can trust. Because outside of Taylor Swift, few have honed their public image quite as well as Mario, where anything that has his name on it is instantly associated with quality and fun, for the most part. But there once was a time when Mario was caught peddling some, let's say, rather unsavory wares. And no, I'm not talking about Mercedes cars. What I am talking about is something so egregious that even Nintendo had to censor it themselves outside of Japan. Whoa, 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 what are you doing, Mario? You can't be doing that here! There are kids watching, man! Welcome to Cool Bits, where we spotlight hidden Easter eggs and secret details that you probably missed. And this time, we're putting the spotlight on a series of shockingly realistic details in Mario Kart 64. Now, for its time, Mario Kart 64 was impressively detailed. Consider that in just 5 years, we went from flat cartoon worlds to fully 3D racetracks jam-packed with realistic details like jumbotrons, stadium seating, and of course, the most realistic detail of all when it comes to racing: ads! Lots and lots of ads! All for a variety of fictitious sponsors. And ever since then, fake ads and sponsors have become a mainstay of the Mario Kart series. But unlike the later games, the sponsors in Mario Kart 64 are just a little bit more realistic than the others. Because they were all secretly based on real-world companies and brands, at least in one version of the game. Let's take the sponsor Shot, for example, with its red and yellow color scheme perfectly matching the real-life logo for Shell, the oil and gas company. But instead of a seashell, it's a Koopa shell. Haha, I see what you guys did there. Now, unfortunately, this is the only sponsor in Mario Kart 64 to exist in every version of the game around the world, as every other logo is changed to varying degrees in the international versions of the game, likely to better conceal their real-world origins. Maybe Nintendo is trying to avoid a lawsuit? The least change of the remaining sponsors is Koopa Air, which looks pretty similar in every version of the game, just with a different color scheme. So while the international one might be hard to place, the Japanese one should be pretty obvious, with the color scheme perfectly matching the Goodyear logo. Yep, the tire company. It's only missing the winged foot. Next, we have the sponsor Yoshi! And it even includes a cute little Yoshi paw print, just like how he signed his letter in Super Mario World, at least in the international versions. Which, coincidentally, is a cute detail that's missing from the Japanese version of this ad, on account of the sponsor having a slightly different name, Yoshi 1, which is a parody of the motor oil brand Mobile One, right down to the exact same color scheme. Even the red O is in the same spot. It's almost too perfect. Next up, hey, what's on the TV up there? Oh, it's Factor, the sponsor for today's video. What perfect timing, because I am starving. And that's exactly where Factor comes in, as they make healthy eating easier and faster than ever before. Here's how it works. Factor delivers fast, chef-prepared meals right to your door, tailored to your specific goals. Whether it's high protein or low calorie, they have something that'll absolutely fit your lifestyle. And the best part? It is super simple. Just pop it in the microwave for a couple of minutes and boom! A fresh, tasty meal. It's almost like magic. I've already tried a bunch myself, but this salmon one? Absolute winner. And Factor just recently doubled the size of their menu too, with even more protein and seafood options. So finding something that you'll love is easier than ever. And with how busy my lifestyle can be, Factor has been a lifesaver for me. Because after one of those marathon 18-hour streams, the last thing I want to do is spend an hour cooking, or caving for fast food. But now I can have a healthy meal ready to go in just minutes. And it makes tracking my calories effortless too. If you want to try it for yourself, head to Factor75.com. Or click the link below and use the code GameXplainFB50 to get 50% off plus free breakfast for an entire year. Again, that's code GameXplainFB50 at Factor75.com for 50% off and free breakfast for a year. That sounds like a darn good deal to me. Now, speaking of sponsors, let's get back to the ones found in Mario Kart 64. The Luigi sponsor is a bit unique, because although the international version changed the look and company name, it still appears to be based on a real-life brand, just a different one than the Japanese version, as it bears resemblance to the logo for Bradley's, the now defunct chain of department stores. It has a similar red font and a practically identical S. And interestingly, this is the only sponsor that, as far as we can tell, not only didn't sponsor Formula 1 itself, but has practically nothing to do with cars at all, which makes its inclusion all the more peculiar. Now, the Japanese version of this brand is parodying a different logo entirely, as Luigip, if that's how you say it, is clearly based on Ogip, the Italian oil company, as it not only shares many of the same letters, but the same font and color scheme too. And yes, it even has a mascot inside the box, just being Luigi's face instead of a rad-looking fire-breathing dog with 6 legs. We were so close to greatness. You're welcome. Anyways, it's finally time to turn our attention to the elephant in the room. And with it, Mario Kart 64's most controversial sponsor being Mario Star? Wait a second, there's nothing offensive about that. It's not even a real-life reference to anything. And yeah, that's the exact point, as it's the most changed sponsor by far in the international versions of the game for a very good reason. Because if we take a look at the original Japanese release, we can see it says Mario. Now in case that doesn't ring any bells, good! As it's a direct riff on Marlboro, as in the health-destroying company. But despite the unsavory connection, you do have to admit it is pretty clever. Especially once you notice that Nintendo inverted Marlboro's typical red emblem to resemble the M from Mario instead. It almost works too well, which is probably why Nintendo straight up deleted it from the international releases of the game, as they likely realized that maybe we shouldn't be promoting smoking in a game made for children. Especially when it's plastered all over Mario's very own race course, right next to the Nintendo logo no less, which incidentally was also changed from blue to red in the international release. Now as to why this hadn't occurred to Nintendo sooner, well, it might be because that activity was incredibly common in Nintendo's home country of Japan during the 90s, to the point that over half of the male population did it at the time. But don't just take my word for it, take the word of Dylan Cuthbert instead, who worked at Nintendo's Japanese office during the early 90s.
And the only place in the office where they allowed Miyamoto to smoke was in the area where we were. They light up behind us and he's like smoking away. And we're like programming away and we're like, oh, he's back again. Oh no.
So yeah, it's not exactly a huge surprise that Nintendo may not have thought too much about it at the time. But thankfully they wisened up shortly thereafter for the international versions. But get this, Nintendo is trying to erase it from history too, as they've retroactively changed the sponsors found in the Japanese version on Nintendo Switch Online, as they now match the sponsors found in the international versions. So Marlboro, along with the rest of the original Japanese sponsors, are now all but a distant memory. Except for one little thing that Nintendo overlooked in every version of the game. Because if you go to the track selection screen, the pre-rendered art for several tracks still displays the original Japanese ad banners. Look, there's Yoshi 1, Luigi, and of course, Mario. Whoops! So we finally addressed the Mario censorship mystery. But don't close the video just yet, because there's one more reference to a real-world brand hiding in plain sight, just in a slightly different form. Do you remember that blue 64 ball found on Luigi's circuit? Well, that's a clever riff on the orange 76 ball that you've probably seen at countless gas stations all over. Which, as you might have guessed by now, is a connection that's even stronger in the original Japanese version. The ball there is a dead ringer. Yeah, can you believe that Nintendo of America blue-balled us like that?
Thank you very much. I'm here till Thursday.
But hey, at least you can still see the orange one on the track selection screen too. And with that, that wraps up this episode of Cool Bits from Mario Kart 64. Now let us know if you have any cool bits of your own by posting in the comments below, and we may feature it in a future episode. And if you want to see even more cool bits, make sure to click that subscribe button and check out our Cool Bits playlist for tons more secrets and Easter eggs. Until next time, stay cool.